Welcome. I'd say welcome back. So we wanted to talk about Resident Evil Requiem.
Yes, number 9.
Did I say that properly? Requiem?
Requiem?
I always have a problem with that
It's a hard word to say. It reminds me of that Jared Leto movie, you know? Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, exactly. So you don't hear that word very often.
I mean, very simply, it is the 9th entry into the mainline Resident Evil. It's Leon Kennedy being back, but it's also being introduced to a new character, Grace. And I wanted to ask you a bunch of questions because, of course, I played the game, you played the game, we finished it, but I am not a Resident Evil aficionado, right? I kind of dibble-dabble a little bit, but you've stayed along with that franchise and you've been very loyal to it.
I've been loyal. There's a few games that I did miss for sure. But yes, if we go into Resident Evil 9, I'm so happy they returned to form with Leon Kennedy, which is amazing. Grace is a new character that they put in there, and we kept calling her Ashley. We kept calling her Ashley from Resident Evil 4 or whatever, because it kind of reminded us of her and like how Leon has to take care of her, but he doesn't really have to take care of her. She's kind of her own badass in a way. Yeah,
I mean, she's introduced as an FBI agent, so she has some kind of she's competent in some kind of ways. You know, she has her own handgun and whatnot, but she is not Leon. She hasn't dealt with this. You know, she hasn't dealt with the outbreak her whole life. She hasn't dealt with anything that was this scary, not even remotely. So playing as her is very different, right? So I'll jump into it, and I want to ask you straight up, how or what did you think of the game in general?
I really, really, really like this game.
Okay. I
will say it's not my favorite. But it's high up there because we'll get into like how about this? We'll get into our favorites and all that after that or whatever. Sure. But I really, really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed the dichotomy between playing the different play styles and kind of gameplay mechanics between Grace and Leon. Mm-hmm. I love how they played with past and present scenes and like things that happened to kind of fill you in on the story.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, the flashbacks and even like the opening scene with Grace where she gets sent to like go investigate the hotel where her mom was murdered. I love how they kind of flash back through the hotel, like when it was looking normal before the fire and then, you know, after the fire happened and then all that stuff went down.
You played the new one, you played the old one. In your mind, do you think that this one was a good service to the fans of the new one, or they were also servicing the original ones and, you know, the remakes and this one? So do you think that they had a nice balance there?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the way that they gave us those remember berries from incorporating things from the old Resident Evil. Yeah, Barry!
Remember Barry sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Barry from the first Resident Evil, of course, and his daughter and all that. But I loved how they kind of made me reminisce. Mm-hmm. I was playing as Leon and I felt like I was just reminiscing around, bumming around Raccoon City. Oh, remember this, remember that, or whatever. So I did really, really, really enjoy that. I felt like the gameplay and the mechanics is incorporating stuff from Resident Evil 4, the first one and the original and the remake. And then they were also incorporating different gameplay styles from like Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8 as well. So I will say that they really tried to, I think, incorporate, I think they tried to make a lot of people happy, and that's what they did. Yeah.
There was a lot of Resident Evil 2 as well, because you do go back to familiar grounds. And you know, it is a spoiler talk, so we're going to talk about everything, but it is in the trailer as well for those that, you know, spoilers. It is in the trailer. So you go back to Raccoon City, you go back to the police department, which is pretty dope. It's a great place to go back to because there's so much history there. I've heard that some people did not really like the fact that this game went away from Resident Evil, like the traditional Resident Evil gameplay. Do you feel like that in any way?
No, because I feel like the first part of the game, when you're playing as Grace, is more traditional gameplay, as in like you have your traditional kind of rooms that you're working through. You're stuck in one building. You're trying to open up a door, you know? So we've all been there. So you're trying to collect things. You can open up this special door and get out. So I did really, really, really enjoy that aspect of it. And that kind of like fed my Resident Evil 2 kind of hole, I guess. We'll call it that, I guess. It just sounds kind of weird, but yeah. And then once we kind of play as Leon, it's different, right? And even like the way you play as him, you feel different. You feel a different kind of more powerful, more mature.
Like you've been around the block.
Yeah, exactly. And like you're equipped already. Like you already have your weapons. You already know what to do. Like you already feel like you're kind of overpowered in a way. So I did really enjoy that. And as Grace, when you're playing as her, you have to kind of scale back. You have to sneak. You have to use more resource management because she doesn't have as much stuff at her disposal that like Leon does.
All right. So here's the thing, right? I would like to ask you, what in your estimation makes a good or makes a classic or good Resident Evil game?
That's a good question, but I think it's really about the exploration. You're obviously trying to like get to a certain place or like certain milestones that you want to reach. It's definitely the sneaking. You have to do a little bit of the resource management, but not too much, not where it's like super annoying. Also being able to kind of, that you're going to bump into like certain characters at one point. So there's always going to be a kind of like convergence of different, characters. Obviously atmosphere as well. So you always want to have like a creepy atmosphere. So it's either going to be something that's like really dark, something where you're going to have maybe a giant monster is going to be after you, or like one of those tall people, kind of like Lady D, kind of like the Tyrant, kind of like Nemesis. You're always, running away from something.
Like, I feel like everybody's got their different answer when it comes to that. See, for me, it's always simple, right? It's gonna have at least one mutated monster, like you said, right? I think a lot of times some people expect a character is gonna chase you, right? Like a Tyrant, like you said, a Nemesis, something like that. To me, there's always a couple of things that I look forward to in a Resident Evil game, like a classic one is the crescendo, right? You always go in to do something, and then there's always that deep umbrella conspiracy, and then that underground lab, and that very elaborate, like it starts as like everything's a shanty town and run down and whatever, and then you always end up in like the most lavish lab with the most like, who spent $1 trillion on this, right? And then there's always like a big RPG moment where you have to like blow something up with an RPG. And then there's always also a moment where the base has to self-destruct, right? So
it's got to.
Yeah, to me, that's what kind of always made the series fun. And then when we got to Resident Evil Biohazard, right, which is the one that brought me to the series as a fan, I felt like this one was different. I felt like this one, the crescendo was different, right? It kind of felt like they were taking themselves a little bit more seriously until you start to realize like, oh, I'm losing a limb and then I'm reattaching it and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, that's kind of have the feel of a Resident Evil kind of game. The inventory management was a little bit different at that point. I think it was like retooled to be more manuable because you had to go back. So I definitely agree with you that the almost Castlevania aspect of having to go back to certain rooms and make your way forward, like these milestones of like, I had to open that door that took like those 3 stones or like a certain puzzle to unlock.
Yeah.
And then you get through it. That's always fun with Resident Evil because it changes the pace. It's always been a series about pace to me, right? That's why I say crescendo, because they pace their action very well with the thrills and then the horror as well. So do you think that game, or do you think that they are scary games anymore? Do you really think that they are horror games anymore? Or do you think that they're more like thrill ride? Because to me, it's a thrill ride.
Yeah, they're more like suspense thrillers to me at this point. Like zombies, like we've talked about this, like zombies don't really scare us anymore.
We've talked about this.
We've had 20, 30 years of like zombies up our ass for like a long time. But
I think The Walking Dead really killed it for me. And just because that's when you realize you're like, well, just because, I don't know, I feel like they're kind of easy to deal with. Just throw some gas on them.
Yeah, exactly. Or dig a giant pit and like let them walk into it or whatever. So yeah, but the atmosphere is always what's creepy to me. You know what I mean? Like they're very good at the sound design. They're very good at making you feel like there's something after you or feel that anxiety. Of course, like I still get anxiety when I play these games, but I was boastful this one. I'm like, oh, it's not that scary because I don't feel that like impending sense of doom per se, but I am anxiety. I am like on the edge of my seat. I'm like playing in the dark. I'm this is not really a spoiler, but per se, I opened up a closet door and a lamp fell on me and I was like, You know, so I did have that moment where,
I had these moments so thoroughly. So just specifically, you know, to talk about this game, what I did like is, like you said, the changing between the two characters. So as the game starts, they play a lot with lighting. It's a lot of shadow lighting, you know, because one of the characters, whatever that's chasing you, is afraid of the light, right? I think she's dubbed the girl. People just call her the girl. Yeah. So she's afraid of light sources. I did not ask, I don't feel like I was like, oh, this is something that's going to be in the game, right? This is a mechanic now. I was very much surprised by this. I was surprised that there was enemies that were optional, that you didn't have like as Grace. You were not powerful enough to deal with all the enemies. You also didn't have enough ammo to deal with all of them. So you were kind of like told to go around them sometimes, or like sneak behind a certain enemy that can't see you. Did you thought that that was a nice addition to Resident Evil? Because to my knowledge, it wasn't like that before, right?
Not as much, but I mean, I think because the ammo was still pretty low, you would have to like try to like run around them and stuff like that. So
but not sneak.
Maybe not sneak, but yeah, you would try to run and like get away from them or whatever. Okay. So I do like how the zombies in this one were a bit different because it's almost like they had their normal life and then they became a zombie, but they still remembered how their life was or like whatever path they were on, you know?
That was so cool.
It's like the maid was like, one of the maids in the bathroom like was just trying to clean the windows or whatever. Yeah. So like it's like they were just programmed to kind of do what they would do in normal life, just as like zombies. Like the big chef was still roaming around the kitchen halls. Exactly, with his cleaver and stuff like that, talking about like making dinner or like don't be late for dinner or something. That was interesting to hear them. It reminded me of Resident Evil 4 because that's to my knowledge, it was the first time I was like, oh, these infected, because they're not really zombies, but like infected, they were acting differently. They were still talking. Some of them were having conversations. Like I know most of them were part of like that cult. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting in this one to see that it was about transferring your mind or some kind of intelligence through the virus so that someone can be infected but still keep most of their thoughts, I guess. So that was kind of interesting to see this. I mean, the evolution of the game itself as the game ramped up with the new mechanics with the blood, and then you switch as Leon and you have the mechanics with the points, which I loved. Yeah. That made it so amazing to go, like, oh man, I'm not going to let any of these guys. Yeah. Then I felt like I could actually like go balls deep and like just shoot everybody and stuff like that. Cause I know that I can go back and like craft more stuff, or I could buy stuff, or like redo my body armor. So that was a big thing that I really like. I do like the two differences between the two collecting systems and being able to power up. I enjoyed that. Yeah. I thought at first I was like, oh, I don't know. And then once I got into it, I was like, oh yeah, this is actually very, very helpful. You know, like even trying to get like the coins for the blood collection so you can do more blood collection. That was nice. Because that was the last thing. And I'm like, do I really need like all this blood collection stuff? And I'm like, yep, I do. Like one thing that I really, really, really wanted to ask you about was the level design. What did you thought of the level design this time? Because it was less puzzles, right? I felt like it was less puzzly for sure. Like even in Resident Evil 8, there was times when I kind of got stuck a little bit. I had to like think about it. And then, but for this one, it's almost like they kind of, I don't want to say they turned away from the puzzles, but they were very easy, you know? And it's almost like the puzzles were traversal puzzles instead. Yes. So just trying to figure out where I need to go, where my safe room is. Like even in Leon's act, I guess like act 2, I guess we'll call it, scene 2 or whatever. That was very puzzly to try to figure out what you needed to be able to get, to get to the next part of the game or whatever. Yeah, I feel like that was one way that they changed it up a little bit. And maybe that's where people are like, whoa, where's my classic puzzles? I thought I needed 3 keys, not just fuel. Yeah. But yeah, there was a driving force I felt in this game where it was telling you always to move forward and get this to move forward. But then you keep going forward. I saw you in a scene that like I want to talk about. There's a moment where Leon is back at the gates, right? And he has to, of course, be able to find a way to demolish the gates. He has to go around and collect some parts. And there's 3 parts of a bomb that you have to collect. And there's a harrowing sequence that starts from you going up a building and then I think down the building and then up again and then cross the building and then down again. It was amazing. But how did you felt like that whole sequence was conducted? Because as Leon, because it's a long
Leon kind of sequence, right? And you had, I think for the first time, you had to fight an enemy that actually had a weapon, like a firearm, right? Was it the first time? Like a zombie with a firearm?
Yeah, I think so, with a machine gun or whatever, which is crazy.
How did you like that?
I hated that. That was so scary. But I did love the fire guys were hard to beat because you had to like avoid them you had to kind of like wait for them to stop shooting and then you could do your attacks or whatever. But I did love the chainsaw, picking up that chainsaw and just mowing through guys.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember if that was in Resident Evil 4, the remake or not, but
if it was
they
a
let
chainsaw,
not like that though. I feel like this
that.
one was very satisfying.
It was very satisfying, and also like you could like it could fall on the ground and spin a little bit.
Yeah, you have to wait to pick it up. So there's like a little bit of like planning in that, but like Leon with his axe.
Oh man, the axe.
Axing guys
very
like crazy.
Useful, very useful. And there was guys are throwing stuff, digging stuff out of the ground, throwing stuff at you.
Yeah, and you could pick up stuff and throw it back at them, which I love too, because those are like so. There's just lots of opportunities for getting different kills, which I really like.
Like the glass section that you played.
Yeah.
Through, how did you like that?
Yeah, the glass section was good. It was interesting because it's still kind of like a little bit of a puzzle in its own way, but yeah, I thought that was kind of fun to be able to, kill zombies that way or whatever. It was a nice gimmick. Yeah, exactly. So it had some nice gimmicks in it. You know what I mean? Like there's the motorcycle scene too that people did. I know that, I know that you're very much on rails when you're playing that.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. It kind of reminds me of like when Leon's on the boat in like Resident Evil 4.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. It reminds me of that.
Yeah. So I mean, they're just trying stuff, and I appreciate that.
It did not overstay its welcome. That's what I appreciate.
It was short and sweet. Yeah, it was short and sweet. And like, I guess another thing to talk about, I guess the similarities of like other Resident Evil games is Resident Evil, they always have 3 acts, kind of 3 different scenes, like three different environments or whatever. So this one stayed true to form with the 3 different areas that you kind of went through.
I didn't even thought about that. It's true that Resident Evil games tend to have like, you're in the streets, then you're in the police station, then you're underground.
Yeah, you always end up in a facility. You always end up in a friggin' umbrella facility. Like
that's true. That's true that it tends to veer, like staying pretty close to that. Even when you think about it, Resident Evil 7, that tends to be like very different from the other ones. Still had that you're in the house, then you're in the boat, and then you're back out again. Like, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like 3 chapters like that. I appreciate the fact that they also had, we all call him Mr. X, but we shouldn't.
Yeah, I guess it's not his name, but whatever. I still call him Mr. X.
He's just a tyrant, apparently. But yeah, Mr. X being back, I really love that. I think we got to talk about the one thing I'm sure you felt the same way that I did. I did not care for the bosses.
Yeah, no, the bosses like the bosses were very cut and paste. You know what I mean? Like I felt like they were very similar. Like it was like shooting the blobs off the monsters' bodies. Even like the tyrant, he was like pretty easy to beat. Just had to shoot him in the chest.
Yeah, the thing is, that's the thing. It wasn't a best of. It was more like here are a bunch of monsters, whatever, with glowing blobs that you have to shoot, and it made it very easy. And then the worst thing is when they made it different. The only 2 bosses that I've never seen before, at least in my experience, is the one when you have to fight like the flower kind of monster, and it's using its tentacles to kind of like beat you left and right. Because that's a classic like video game monster. You know, when you're on a platform, you have to fight something that's way bigger than you, and then you have to cross from one way to another. Like there were some moments like when you first meet the Lickers, I feel were more tense than the actual bosses.
Yeah, I was okay with that because I just wanted to keep playing the story. So I didn't want to get stuck on anything too much. So that's why I'm kind of happy there wasn't like a lot of puzzles I had to get stuck on or like bosses that I had to try to beat like multiple times, because then I could just carry on with the story, which is really what I wanted to do. What did you think of the villain Xeno?
I mean, Xeno's serviceable. Every villain in this game was serviceable. I feel like this game was trying to tell a story about kind of like finishing certain loops. I felt like they had to get some guys there to get them there. But I guess the bigger surprise was more like what they did with Spencer and what happened with the actual, why it's called Resident Evil Requiem. And what they're gonna do next, I guess, with the antivirus, right? I think that's more like the real thing, right? The real boss was the virus that like Leon had. You know, that was a real big bad.
Yeah, and like I was scared they were gonna kill off Leon. I was like, is this gonna be Leon's like last ride? You know?
Hey man, for anyone that played Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty and Metal Gear Solid Guns of the Patriots, we know the real heroes don't die.
Just clone him, I guess.
There is
clone
a moment.
Leon.
Okay, so my thing was we had theories the whole time we were playing the game, right? And we're like, sometimes we're exchanging theories, and of course, sometimes we're way off. But our first theory was right, that, you know, Grace was just like the little girl was just another copy of Grace. We knew that because the hair and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a moment where you fight a captain of some kind of team and whatnot. And I swore to God that guy was going to, because he has a hatchet like you. I swore to God that guy was going to take off his mask and he was going to be a young Leon. And I was going to be like, the fuck, they cloned Leon. And imagine it was like a young clone Leon working for the bad guys. That would have been.
We
cool.
Still don't know. Like that could happen.
Cool.
That would have been very cool. Yeah.
Like I just thought that was gonna happen. I also thought that Leon and Chris were gonna meet up at the end of the game, and on purpose, they held that away from me.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Oh, have you seen Chris? I'll meet up with this at some point." I'm like, in the DLC. So my next question is, where do you think they could take it from there?
That's a good question. Like, honestly, like I'm not sure. I mean, I guess they're going to take it. I think we're going to have Grace, obviously, and maybe we're going to meet up with Ethan Winter's daughter,
Ooh.
Rose. Like, I think we have to go back and kind of tie in the whole Ethan Winter's timeline as well. So, and Rose has powers. Now we know, you know, Grace is just, you know, average, but she's also with Emily. And Emily could have some messed up stuff with her too.
It's true that we're going back for Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Who went back? She's in the cocoon.
Yeah, and she was okay at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think she's like living with
Grace live together. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be something like that.
Teaching her how to read.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt like she could read real well. Oh no, I mean read for real. I know. I'm just fucking with people here. But yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, Chris has to come back. There's two other characters that I've been seeing in a long time.
Yeah, well, Jill Valentine.
Yeah.
And Claire Redfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe for Resident Evil 10.
Is this a disservice to the ladies that we haven't seen the ladies in the main game in a long time?
Dude, they've done a lot. They've been pulling their yeah, they've been pulling their weight. They've been mind controlled. They've been beat up. They've been like on the run, like traveling across the world. BSAA. Yeah.
Bullshit. Double A bullshit, man.
Yeah, so I think that we're going to have definitely more characters incorporated into the next one. Then I'm not sure. Like, honestly, like, sky's the limit. It depends who's going to take it over, too. Is it going to be the same guy that did 7 and 9? Who's going to be at the helm for 10? Or is the
guy for 9 come back for 10?
Yeah, or would the guy who did 8 come back for 10? Or somebody new comes in, like
who knows? Because the way they work, Capcom tends to like be already working on the next one when this one is out, and these guys are going to finish the DLC, and like, you know, so that's why they're able to come make games quite quick enough.
Yeah.
Like, the time we've been together, and they made so many games, including the remakes. So can't wait to see what they have next. But we do know that there's a DLC. They're working on it, and that's going to come out very soon. We do know that there is New Game Plus, so we have a very hard mode to complete, as well as I wouldn't mind going back on the easy mode and trying to see if I can finish this game under 4 hours. Challenge accepted.
Dude, yeah, you could. I do want to talk about the funny thing at the end, though. You know, where they give you the choice.
Oh, so guess what, people? You would not believe. She comes down and she asks me. I feel like I'm talking like this guy. She comes down and she asks me. No, but she's like, what did you do at the end? And I'm like, what do you mean, what did I do at the end? And I'm like, oh, wait. Did you destroy it? So what happens when you destroy the thing? For the people that didn't do it, what happened?
I played the whole game or whatever. At the end, it gave me the 2 choices. So I did destroy. And it was the shittiest ending.
But why did you choose destroy?
Because Leon said, let's end this one way or the other. So I'm like, let's end it. I'm going to destroy this.
So when Grace says, trust me, I know what I'm doing.
What
do you think that she meant?
I thought she meant I'm listening to Leon. I'm going to listen to you. Trust me. I got this. I'm going to destroy it. So anyway,
not trust me. I'm an independent woman. I can do my own choices. Dude, I know what I'm doing.
I don't know. She just went through a bunch of shit. So like, anyway, so that was my first choice, and I was so upset. I was like, "What? That's not a Resident Evil game. Like, there's no boss battle at the end. Leon dies. She gets taken away. We don't even know what happens to her. It was so bad, and I was so disappointed. So I'm so happy they gave you the option, of course, for idiots like me to be like, okay, do you want to like replay, and we'll save it, and then you can replay it and change your choice. So I did all that, and then I was highly satisfied. I was like, oh, okay. I just had to pick like the good ending.
It's so funny because I was playing it, and I swear to God, not no disrespect, but I was playing the game, and it was like they give you the choice, and I'm like, who's the idiot I was gonna?
I told you.
Because I'm like the whole time they go like Spencer, like hope, my hope for the world. Then it's like, oh, what does he want? Does he want hope? I'm like, yeah, I guess that's what he wants. I'm like, I guess he built the whole thing for like the good and whatnot. I'm gonna go with it. But I know you're like, Spencer, I can't trust that motherfucker. It's been 20 years in some. I spent my time hating him in Wesker.
Yeah.
I ain't about to trust him now.
Yeah, he's done so much shit. Like, why would I even like, trust him at all? Like,
but then we learned something. That's why Wesker killed him. Because Spencer felt bad from the beginning. He was trying to undo this. Yeah. And then Wesker was like, nah, man, I need to make money off this shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all dead now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Nikki.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through. Anyways, have fun. Enjoy yourself. And as we see where we come from.
Peace.
Have a good one.